Coaching lessons, violin shops, candles, commissions and counterfeit, overpriced instruments and fake labels. What is this? I don't know about this candle, but it seems very sparkling thing, because in violin making there's always something interesting. Anyhow, hello, hello. This is Edgar from Cremona, Italy. I'm here still slightly setting up here my whole setup in order that I can transmit quick and easy here with you. And I thought it is something nice to give you a small, let's say, Easter gift. Okay. Many of you are probably at home, and then it's already a long time ago that I was not anymore live here for my audience. And so this is the thing why I had the idea to do this. And I show you quick the setup here. It's here that I have my computer standing here, and I'm sitting here like this, okay? And so I could here just now here see probably this Annika Meisel. Basic maintenance repairs you can do with tools at home. I'm thinking along the lines of fixing a bridge that's not straight or fell off. And I will show you that very soon, because I even thought I will go over there in the musician room and I will take a violin, and that's something I just was thinking this is something I wanted to do. This question and answer is not like my question and answer on my Patreon channel, where I'm mainly answering to violin makers and amateurs who are willing to construct their own instruments, while this here now is rather the idea of mine to make it for musicians. And Annika Meisel made already great questions here, and I will immediately go and make this question, because this is actually a very good question. And then the second one from Annika Meisel, your response to the two-set violin exposing luthieres, violin shops, candles. I didn't even know that there is candles, but in violin making, in the violin trade, there are lots of scandals, and the main reason I'm just making new instruments is because I know exactly what I'm selling, because I'm making it. And I could imagine that in violin making, a lot of dealers or people who want to make some financial shortcuts in and want to get everything immediately are doing some very stupid things, which are then the whole trade is somehow in a bad reputations. I'm really sorry for that. But you know, as in every trade, you know, there's always somebody who is doing things in a certain way and somebody else who is doing it in another. I don't know now exactly what, but the commissions and counterfeit, overpriced instruments and fake labels, we could make here a whole channel about it, because fake labels, you wouldn't believe so, but the makers themselves are making their own fakes already, so it's never ending, you know. So this could be something really interesting. And then certainly the fact that instruments are not what they are, and then experts are putting themselves together in order to fool the future customers just in order to be paid, and then they just divide the profit. This is just one of the interesting parts of violin business, but this is also caused by musicians who are too much dreaming of this old instrument, of this old but still economic instrument which doesn't exist, okay? So you always have to, it's a little bit like in the car industry. Everybody wants a super cheap car with few mileage, but very recent made. And at a certain point when it's getting too cheap, it should be where something is wrong, you know. And this is in every trade. It's the customers are asking for it, and there will be always in every trade, in violin making as in car business or milk, fruit, and whatever business, it will always somebody who is going to fool you. Yeah, but this is not a problem for us. There are already 6 people watching, which is very good. And those 6, I hope you're putting right now your questions. No, now I leave this one computer here because then it's easier for me to see the questions you're going. I write here, please write me your, write me, where is it now? Please write me, where's now this here? Oh, here. Please write me your questions here. Okay, and we go over there and I will show you how you can put the bridge as Annika Meisel wrote, and then we see how we can do that. There is also here somebody, the violinist. Hello, long time no see. How much does it usually cost to get started with the tools required for violin making? That is. While I go there, I will tell you how much I spent for it. And actually, you don't need that much money. It's more a question of, not so much. You don't need all the tools, you know. It's here the workshop is a little bit fully, and you know, you don't need all these molds. You only need one. And you don't need so many violins, you only need one, and you don't need so many pieces and things, which are what I'm doing here is already too much for me. So you just need a few tools. I would say with 500 euro, you can already buy a lot and do a lot with 500 euro. And you don't need a fancy bending iron like this. Well, now it doesn't look very fancy anymore, but you know, you can also buy an economic one without electric temperature regulations. Here Montagnana cello is going to be born, and Min is making her outline here, while Marco is cutting. Ciao Marco. Ciao. Marco is cutting his scroll for his Stradivari Gore booth, and he probably is looking at the Gore booth, the scroll in the book, which is a very nice book, you know. Only this book costs probably as much as the whole tools for violin making. So, you know, just start slow by slow, little by little, what you need, you buy it, and then you can get it. Huh? Io vado di là e spiego come si sta attento a mettere su il ponticello, eccetera, eccetera, e tu mi potresti fare un caffè e me lo porti di là. Ok? Oops, sorry. Non ti ho fatto vedere la tua faccia, che cattivo. So, if we have to look here at the violin, I take this one here. Yeah, we take this one, and I will show you with this violin. This is a Guarnieri Linea Macchi, and we go over there. Oh, I'm very happy that you like the level of my craftsmanship, but it's because we just do, this is what we do for every day, and so here I'm actually looking for the next violin with the decoration, yeah, and Yeah, so now I'm designing it, and then I was looking in all the books where I can do it and how I can do it and things like this. Yeah. So now we have to make a little bit the setup. Here are all the violins, and then we have the cellos here, and then in the first room we have the viola. But now I'm just thinking of how I can put the camera in order that you can perfectly see. 9 people are already here, which is very nice, and I'm very happy. This is here just an idea of doing a Q&A for everyone, not only for how you say, for my Patreons, where I started with this Q&A during the first lockdown, and I thought it was a nice idea to do that. From Brazil, hi Edgar, Amayor 7, okay. I will first show you now the question of Annika, which was actually a good question because she wanted to know how. Oh, Marco is going to bring me the coffee, which is very nice. And here comes the coffee, grazie. And here it is 2 1/4 in Cremona. And how you can see, I have my hair pretty long. I had somehow the idea of cutting my hair in front of the camera for my YouTube channel to show them that I'm actually even good in hair cutting, but I don't know yet if I will be good and if I should do that, because doesn't have to do anything with violin making. Yeah? Hold on. Now I will just turn over this computer in order that I can see the question, because with the cell phone it's a little bit complicated. Why doesn't it work here? Wake up. Okay. So now, first I have my coffee. This is good. Here it's after lunch. I don't know what time you have, but I had just my lunch here today. And now I'm actually ready. Before coming here, I took this violin. I have to find a way how I can be more flexible to show you what I would do if I would be a musician and what you have to look at. And when this violin was over there, before I grabbed it, it was hanging, I just had the impression that the bridge was a little bit just like you at home. When you see this violin, it is slightly too much to the front. Now, from this side, you are looking over there. It seems pretty much 90 degrees, but like this, from this side. Okay, it is slightly too much to the front. Now, how can I see that? It's a little bit difficult. It is that this angle here and this one should be the same, okay? Now the bridge here should be 90 degrees on the back side to the tailpiece, and in the front it should be a little bit in front, because here it is more inclined and then it's more straight here, okay? So the best way for a musician to do that is actually to put it on its lap. And now I show you. Hold on, sorry, I have to low down here this tripod. It's a little bit a shaky transmission because I'm a one-man show here. Yeah, but we do this like this, and then like this, And then let me see if I can show you this. So, since now the screen is a little bit like this, maybe I should go slightly more into up, but not too much, huh? And like this. This is much better. So, Annika. It's in the beginning it's difficult to look at it, but you just get used to it. And maybe even with paper, you can flip it and try to make a triangle which goes into this spot here. And then you put the same thing after trying to figure out the right film, you can put it on the back side. And then you can see how much you have to go back to the entire thing. In order to move the bridge, and we only want to move it up here, not down below, okay? The feet should remain. So now, if you have something which is somehow fragile, standing somewhere, and you don't want to move it completely, just take it in the upper part and then move it slightly. And now I show you. If I have it like this, you put it, if it's not on a table, make it only on the lap. It's easier, so he is not touching anywhere, okay? You have the violin on your lap, nicely, flat, okay? Then you take both hands and only touch the upper part of the bridge. And then you just move it one angle and the other angle from the bridge towards you, but a little and a little, okay? Tuck, tuck. Look it from the front side, if it is straight, parallel to the feet. And if this is good, then you look it again from the side, as we looked it from the first time we looked at it, okay? And then you immediately see that the bridge starts to stand like this. Now, don't exaggerate. It's working again. Side al vivo again. Sorry, there was a phone call. And we hope he doesn't call me too much. I have to see if I can do something a little bit more. No, it does not. Okay. Let's hope they don't call me too much here. Okay? So this is actually the main reason or the main way how it works. Once you think it is in a good solution, like a little bit some more I would do. So I go a little bit more to the back side. I redouble check. Okay, then it is like this. Okay, can you see that? Go like this. Can you see that? This side here is 90 degrees, and in the front it's different. And then if you concentrate only on that areas, then it seems very equilibrated, okay? Yeah. And once you have that, then you can certainly also do a different thing, and you can measure the string length. But now that works great on a violin where it's very stable. It's 32.8 millimeters, 32.8 centimeters. But on a viola already, it's changing a lot. So it's taking a lot of more experience and more different measurements. So I would just say we keep like this right now, okay? For you as a musician, this should be good to do. On a cello, the whole thing becomes a little bit more difficult, because if you put a cello on your lap, you would probably have the end pin which goes through your stomach and is not this much fun. So on a cello, actually I stand straight in front of it, and then I move it, trying to keep my hand quite straight, because you always have to consider that certainly if you go too much, too quick in a short moment, you would just smash down the bridge, and we don't want that. So you go little by little, and a little bit, and you can move it, you put the fingers between fourth and third and second, first and second string, right? And then you look at it, if it is okay, you go a little bit more here, a little bit more there, just a little bit. This is something you would say now, if you listen and say, yeah, this is for other ones who are good in doing this kind of things, I'm just playing and that's always fine. But if you would do that now from time to time, let's say every 2 weeks, you don't have to move a lot, you just adjust it a little bit, only on the upper part. Sound-wise, it wouldn't change much, it would stay stable, and you would probably have a better bridge for longer time. Because if you don't do that, then the bridge starts to bend very strange. If you have now already a bridge which is already very tough towards the front usually, and you want to adjust it a little bit in order that you would come back to idle position. Don't do everything in one step. You cannot, your fingers are not a bending iron to bend now the bridge. So just start and doing it every day a little bit, or every 2 or 3 days a little bit, and within 1 month your bridge will be back how it should be, okay? In case it is coming back in the upper part, but the rest is still something strange, then it is a little bit, you can compare it with the backache of human being, you know? If people don't stand correct with their feet, they bend around, then they have to somehow adjust the whole thing, and then they are causing a wrong posture. And this is causing backache, okay? On a violin, this is causing a wrapped bridge, which sometimes is like a S, you know? And this is actually the main reason is that the feet underneath are not in the right angle how you actually would need the bridge, okay? So in that case, if your bridge is already bent like this, but it sounds good and you like it and how it is, then it's a good point that you just say, okay, I keep that bridge. I go to my violin maker, he takes off the bridge, he puts it on boiling water, he puts the bridge above it, and is like with this hot water getting the whole bridge softer, and then he puts it on a chopping board or something like this, which you even would have in your kitchen, that's why I say chopping board, and then you clamp it between 2 chopping boards, okay? And so you can reband your wrapped bridge straight again, and then you have to leave it like 1 or 2 days. And then you can take it off and it is straight again, okay? It sounds very strange. I don't really now want to say that everybody has to do that, but it would be certainly, we're in lockdown now, and if your hair is as long as mine, then probably, and you cannot go out to a violin maker, and you're not a professional musician and can tell to authorities that you're a professional musician and you have to do that, then you can make it by yourself at home. But it's always a little bit a tricky thing, because taking off the strings takes off the whole pressure of the entire instrument, and then you're risking that the sound post inside is falling down. If you don't want to risk that, certainly without the pressure of the strings, watch out to take the violin like this, for instance. As soon as you take it like this, ding, the sound post is falling down. If you don't touch it in the C, and when you take off the strings, you keep the instrument like this, that on the side of the sound post that it is like this, then the sound post cannot fall down, okay? It certainly is a little bit a risky thing, but you could do that. And if you're very, very careful and always keeping the violin slightly inclined towards the sound post, it won't fall down that quick. If it is falling down, it's a very clear sign that your sound post very likely is far too short, because it should not fall down. Now on a great violin, the sound post should not be tight inside. We here in Cremona, or usually violin makers, when they make a new instrument, or they are changing every week a new sound post, or they put from the very beginning a little bit of tight sound post inside, because it will be too short, okay? And but this is about the bridge here. I hope I went very clear into detail of this question of Annika Meisel, I think was her name, right? About this question. And now I have to see what, I don't know how I can reactivate this computer. Sometimes it's always, but it has some problems here. Need to call my brother, you know. My brother is a computer specialist here. 1, 2, 3, up. Let me see. I'm giving you here my free password for my computer. Here somebody's writing, Daniel Hendarco. Oh, he took off his, it goes side to side. Hello, I'm looking to make, hold on here, hold on. 8 a.m. in New York City, USA, coffee time. Hi, Edgar. I was just listening to your performance of the great Italian violinist Bruno Giuranna when I saw this on the queue. So I'll back in Italy again. Very nice. De Cecco pasta or Garofalo pasta? This is a good question. I just got the pasta made from Bar Stradivari here on the main square on Piazza Roma. And 20 viewers, 24 now. Josef Tapper, hello. I'm looking to make a bridge from scratch, not from a blank, but a board which way goes the grain go front to back. Okay. It goes side to side. Daniel got it, thanks. Finally, someone pronounced my name correctly. You're welcome. Okay. Now I'm also putting here this here. And then I'm going forward with some other things here, which my idea was actually that I give this question and answer regarding this bridge making and things like this. If you are into this making a lot, then I suggest that you subscribe into my Patreon channel, okay? Patreon channel is very specific for makers, for professional makers and amateur makers and those who want to become a maker. And I transmit every month a question and answer, which was actually last year's lockdown, my idea to make a question and answer for musicians. And then I figured out there were a lot of makers. So then I thought, since main part of my audience are musicians who want to know a little bit more about their instrument, I just thought, hey, let's a little bit divide it, because I don't want to go into making details for musicians who are actually a little bit annoyed about it. So on my YouTube channel, usually I make these videos pretty clear only on tiny, minor and tiny subjects. So if they're interested in, they stay tuned. And if they're not, they look another one. Yeah. On the Patreon, it's more about measurements, varnishing, cooking, the recipes of the varnish, what kind of pigments, how you get the pigments inside, what kind of brushes and how I treat my brushes and all these kind of things. And so it's just today I'm trying to a little bit sort out the questions in order that we get questions for people, musicians who are at home and have facing some problems because they're at home, lockdown, or they ran out of money and now they need some advice how they can get their instrument working better. Okay, this is my Easter gift here. I cut my own hair as well. You too. I also want to cut my hair. I thought I will do that tomorrow. And then maybe I video record it and then I make it very quick. So next time, then when you see a video of mine, you see how I cut myself my hair. I started actually last year myself. In the beginning, it was a disaster because when you look in the mirror, I always cut myself in my fingers. So then I didn't look in the mirror anymore. And then when I was cutting like this, but then I remember that there was somewhere like a kind of a shaver, and then I started with that one. And tomorrow, I don't know. While I was cutting my hair myself, I thought, so you go to the hairdresser, and you look how he's cutting your hair, so you should be able to do that. But it's pretty tricky, huh? So tomorrow maybe I do that. Ottavio Carvalho, good morning. How to adjust the sound post without a mirror to see inside of the violin? It's actually a good question, but the best way actually would be to take a coffee teaspoon or something like this, and you just bend it, a lousy one, and then you don't want to move it too much, and you just move it as much that you just hear that something has been moving, but without that you visibly see that the sound post is moving, okay? That's my advice, and very often these tiny movements make already a huge difference to the sound. So every time you're moving it slightly, you just move it and you listen and play. And don't go too quick from one position to another because it sounds strange, but the instrument itself takes its time that it is adjusting to this new sound. So instead of moving in like crazy and back and forwards and sinner, make it very slow, make a tiny movement. I would suggest try to make it in the upper part where it's on the top underneath the bridge for first. Listen to it. And then I made a few videos about it. Sound post secret is actually after you saw the one with the sound post adjusting the sound is also very important because you have to imagine that the area of the sound post where it is touching to the top, when you move it, and you move it only one side, when you move it like this, on this side here it's opening up, and here on this side it is more pressing against the bridge. Even so, it probably, if you look inside, it's touching all over, but it makes a difference if it's a little bit more pressure on one side or another. And if it is more pressure, let's say, towards the bridge, it gives this tiny difference to the E string. So I like to move it first on the upper part, and with the coffee spoon a little bit is a good way to move it in tiny steps. And once you have that, then you can still do the last click for making it more focus the E string without changing too much its character by moving it on the lower end a little bit towards the neck, towards the front, and then it's touching a little bit more precise. Don't put it inclined, it should be straight, and if it is turning strange, it's a sign that these surfaces of the sound post are not cut properly, and if you're not a maker, I doubt you would be able to do it better. Okay, so then I probably would search a violin maker. But on the other side, if you have an instrument and you want to get into it and you say, hey, I want to learn how to cut a sound post, it's a nice subject. In the beginning, you just have the impression that you will never be able even to pull it up, and it's always too short and it will never be straight. In the beginning, you're just happy that it's just standing. But the more you trial and error and you put it up and do it again and look inside and all these things, the more you do it, the better you will become as all human beings. And remember, what someone else is able to do, even you would be one day able to do. But certainly years and years of experience makes a huge difference. Adrifo, hello Edgar, love your channel. I was wondering if you ever made an archtop guitar, and if so, what finish would you recommend? Greetings from Switzerland. Adrifo, I've never made an archtop guitar, but one of my apprentices, and he's now also a maker here in Cremona, Jens Johansson, he just came to Cremona only to learn how to make the archings at that time with cello arching, and he made in the beginning only cello archings to learn how to make these archings because he was interested and focused only on archtop guitars. It's very similar, so I guess if I'm able to make violins, viola, cello, making archtop guitar would be peanuts for me. It's but in let's say on an archtop guitar, the arching is not so sound. It's not so important on it. Now, as soon as I say that, I will have hundreds of people saying, oh, this is not correct, but it is slightly a little bit different. Archtop guitar is not a completely acoustic instrument, so it's a little bit more rougher in the work, and even the arching is also a little bit different, okay? But it's interesting. To make an archtop guitar would be actually nice to make it, but I wish I would have more time, okay? There's so many things. The more you do, the more you want to do, right? I'll sign up for that. Thank you. Yes, Joseph, I will wait for you on my Patreon channel. I think it's just worth it if you're into the making and this kind of things. It's really interesting. For €3 or plus tax, you're just participating at the monthly question and answer. Next week will be the next one, by the way. And then we are just starting now that we make for the all access members, we make setup videos, so you learn how to cut the bridge. I made already the first video regarding that, how to choose the bridge, how to plane it, what kind of thickness, and then we will slowly make the step by step, everything slowly. So you will see I will go very much into details, and it takes hours and hours to make a nice bridge and hours to transmit to you how to make it on my Patreon channel. For €25 you get also the varnishing recipes and all these kind of things. I think it's worth the money and it's a great thing. Kamimura, message ritirato, he took off his message. Oh no, he wrote it again. Bye everyone, the violinist, bye. Greeting Herr Russ, how may I start learning about violin making if there isn't any luthier in my city to teach? Do you think it's possible to learn online? Where to start? Well, it's a good question where to start, but the best thing to start is just to start. Chinese say the biggest step is the first one, right? I think it's just like this. When I started in instrument making and I was like 12 or 13 years old, and I made this classical guitar all by myself, I didn't even think about bending iron and all this. You find a solution for everything, and believe me, during the Second World War, or was it the first one, I don't know, there were some makers who were constructing in prison with spoons. They were carving the arching and doing things like this. So I think we're all pretty much spoiled. If you want, you can do it. And nowadays, with all this information, which is for free, you look at it, you see a little bit here, a little bit there, start doing, and you will automatically generate new questions, and you will find for all these questions the answers which are already available for everybody. And then if you just want to get quicker to a great solution, then I would say my Patreon channel is very good for you. But right now you need to learn how to sharpen tools and how to plane and how to sharpen a knife and things like this. So I think this is a good thing. And you will see that it's opening up. Violin making is an octopus. It's just slowly, it's capturing you, and it's so huge that among makers, everybody has a different direction and a different interest, and the one who is doing only this, the one is doing that, and the one is doing this, and you wouldn't expect. Most musicians think that the maker is just a maker, but every maker has its own history, origin, idol, direction, whatever he's looking for. So you just have to sort out and find the right one. This is what I think I think is the right answer for all these questions. But it's nice to have you all around here. I think this is very nice. Ivan, what are some good string for double bass? That's a good string, you know, a good question, because it depends a little bit on all of, or even here on your budget and your pricing. And now I'm not completely always up to date, but I think from Tomastic, the bel canto are a very good string now, and when they first came out they were like golden colored and a little bit different when I imagined it was like 20 years ago maybe, and they were, or 15, 20 years maybe, and they had a very metal sound. Now they are high evoluted, and I would say a bel canto from Tomastic would be something which I would right now, if I would have to have my own bass here, then I would probably put on the bel canto. This is something which I think is a very nice string. Yeah. I hope this is a good question for you, but certainly they're not economic. I have no idea how much they are, but I guess the 300-400 euro are just like nothing, you know. On a cello, it's already a lot of money, maybe even more. On a double bass, maybe even more. Yeah. It's not so. When I started making, there were only Pirastro, Flexocore. Now nobody. I've never seen any more. Now in the past 10 years, Flexocore I've not seen anymore. This is this. Yeah. Dor, what does that mean? Oh, here, I want to know. Thank you, and I have a cello and want to know more about this particularity instrument. Don't find anything about the label. Says Ashley Guerchin. What may I look for? Ashley Guerchin. We can do that immediately, and we do this like this. I show you how I do that. I also don't know Ashley, but here we have a good book, which I think the book is the Vaughn, René Vaughn, and this is a good book where you can see all these kind of questions and makers and all these. But Ashley, what? Guerchin. Let me see. I will see the FG. Let me see if there is something in here. Ashley Guerchin, I think is. In this book, it doesn't exist. So that must be a young maker. It sounds very English or something like this, or maybe from Australia or something like this. And is not so old. Let me see if there is somebody else. Nope. And maybe here on the back side. No. Because sometimes they have some. No. I have no idea. Sounds like an amateur violin maker. Because if it's not in this book, then we would have another one. Well, I sometimes look in it. Hold on. I just need to see here. In this one, I also like to look. It's the red book. Red. Yeah. And then we see the element of the QR. And also here does not Querson, Guerrero, no, it doesn't exist. Sorry. I don't know. Need to see the violin and then I can tell you. Okay. Wow, there's so many questions now that I don't even. Oops. So the label says Ashley Guerchin. I don't know. Okay. Sorry, said earlier. What should I look to evaluate him? Wow, this is a good question because it really depends on so many things. That the best thing would be you just take a few pictures and you send me, and then it's not this easy to tell you what you have to look at. Yeah, I think this is a little bit not so easy for you. Okay, I think this is enough for being so far away. And we make it like this here. Up. Yeah, it's better. What do you think? Better. I just have here my computer next here to see quicker the questions, because otherwise I'm always here in this on my cell phone here checking. So take the picture, send me by email, and I will let you know what I think about it. And maybe if it's something very more specific where I think this goes more in this direction and this one, then I would say go to this maker or to this one. Every period has its own maker. Marios GKS, what is your opinion about the Pirastro comb chord for violin? What string do you use for your violin? Well, I would say Pirastro comb chord is a steel string and is very hard. So it really depends on what kind of string, what kind of music you're making. If you're playing a lot of amplified music, it's perfect on stage. It keeps the tune and is certainly great, but I would probably not now consider it as a serious string for classical music, okay? But probably, yeah, I would say this is what I think about this chord, but if you like it, it's the best string, you know? Keisuke Kamimura, I think it's a factory made, but they put a luthier label to seems like handmade. How can I determine that? Yeah, this is not so easy. But send me pictures and I will let you know, okay? Ottavio Carvalho, how to take care of an instrument if you live in a place where very humidity, like close to a beach, for instance. Well, the instrument actually, when it's very humid, is actually not so bad. You have just this problem, facing the problem that the neck is coming down very quick. And it might be that the bridge is too high and a lot of string heath because the neck is going down and the bridge remains there. But beside that, actually, it's better to have more humidity than not so much. On the other side, if it's that much humidity that it makes moisture, then it's not this good anymore. But humidity for wood is not this bad. the opposite, if it's too dry, this would be causing cracks and creating other kind of issues and mainly more serious problems, okay? On the other side, in very dry climate, the instrument is sounding much better. And when it's humid, it is a little bit more damp, the sound. So the best thing is, of course, not to keep it in the case and keep it closed, but take it out, hang it on the wall, that is a little bit breathing. And this is definitely better than keeping it somewhere closed, and then it's you're risking that it makes moisture. Fernando Valdivia, greetings, Maestro Russ. Can you use patches to redefine top plate frequencies, or is it just to increase stiffness and strength for the sound post? Thanks. Usually you don't just smash in these patches on the top or on the back to retune or something. Usually you do it after you had the sound post crack. So you first glue it and then you reinforce it with the sound post patch. This is a serious thing which is being made to instruments, so this is getting like a new engine in a car, okay? Compare it a little bit like that. So now, since prices on antique instruments went up like crazy, certainly then if a lot of money is involved, then lots of great new ideas are being made in order to maintain and keep those instruments. And on the other side, the market is asking certainly always for super healthy and perfect and mint condition instruments. And this, since the customers are asking for them, people are doing everything in order to satisfy these requests. And so people are taking antique instruments, make a print of the top, put it inside, come in with a lot of patience, take off the old material, and then make with a 3D scanner. They make a perfect scan, and then they get the new wood inside. And they do this on all kind of instruments of Stradivari and whatever. But just patching it in is a little bit old style. And I would not now recommend anybody to do something like this just to get a different sound on your instrument, okay? This is actually not so. T. Dang, hi Edgar, if you make an instrument without a scroll, would it affect the sound or response? It would definitely have a big impact on the sound. And I would even think that it is losing sound a little bit, okay? Otherwise, if it would be so great, you would see much more instruments without scroll. But I even believe that this kind of mass on the end of the peg box is responsible for a certain body of the sound, okay? And when I say that, my experience to that is that if you have an instrument with a very strong wolf tone on the A string, then you put on the scroll here like a small clamp, and the wolf tone is away. So that means that there is a certain frequency on it, and a big scroll or a tiny small make a different sound. And first, for many years, I'd never expressed how it is infecting the sound, but I would say that now I don't want to have a heavy scroll, which is also uncomfortable if you play all the way down there, and then the end of the instrument having a heavy scroll is really tough to keep it here, and then this heavy scroll. But I would definitely prefer a little bit bigger scroll than a too tiny one, okay? Yeah? For the sound. So it definitely is affecting the sound, but I would not now sound adjust my instrument with the scroll, okay? Daniel Hendarco, Marius, use Eva Perassi strings with a gold steel E string. Yes, this is very a classic string nowadays, Eva Pirazzi, and on the Eva Pirazzi you have the green ones or the yellow ones, and between the two strings there is a world of difference, okay? And if I would suggest now, I would probably take the yellow ones, which cost like double and are definitely a super nice product for high-end musicians, and they cause less pressure on the entire instrument. So even so they feel under the finger harder, the string itself is less power pushing on the instrument, and the less power they need to be in tune, the better it sounds for the sound. So, and this is something which they have also on the Thomastic Peter Infeld P string, and it's something I would definitely consider if you're on the higher end of sound. Cosmin, what a nice name. I have a question about Casein preparation. Can you confirm the calcium mentioned there, calcium hydroxide, or maybe something else? Calcium is calcium, it's just Ca, nothing else. Okay, it's this white powder which they do make for the, they signed for long times the soccer fields. Now they don't do that, but if the soccer player is falling down, and then it hurts because it's burning. But it's just calcium, okay? But closer details about this in my Patreon channel. If you're a VIP member, you get all the information about these preparations. You just go in and then you have all about this Casein calcium preparation. Bible treasures, what is the best shoulder rest? Dolphinos, I have never even heard about it, and I only actually consider Kuhn, okay? But there are so many out there that I cannot even, I just take the Kuhn original, okay? And all the rest might be nice for you, and one loves this, and one has a long, another small, and the one large. It's all your question. I'm not an expert, and because I say that now Kuhn is good for me, or I consider Kuhn a shoulder rest, everybody has its own taste, and the quality of what you're playing and is something is up to you. Dolphinos, never heard about it, maybe the best shoulder rest in the world. I have no idea. Aloha baby, I did a viol resonant front from wood cut, not to center but parallel slice. Normal cut. It sounds perfect. Have you tried non-traditional cut wood? Here we go into super violin making specifications. I certainly tried everything, and I guess he means slab cut, and the slab cut I use for viola and the traditional cut for violins. But I don't want to go in too much into these details, because otherwise musicians are going to be annoyed here. Bible treasure, easy ear piano. I made a velvet shoulder rest, a rest, and making a Dolfino sort of rest found materials. What do you think of wallet shoulder rests? A counterweight using sand, is it okay for your muscle or not ergonomic? I hear you're talking about things, it's not my field, and I don't know. If you're comfortable, it's all fine for me. Anne-Sophie Mutter plays without anything. Some play with shoulder rests, some without, and I don't want to go into this detail. That's something for you. You have to try, huh? Bible treasure, easy ear. I've tried. It's buzzing and not resonating. I'll try that on D. It's buzzing and not resonating. Is this a question? I have no idea. Mucken 48, it is absolutely essential that the feet of the bridge be perfect, flat on the belly of the violin. Yes, of course. I tried the sandpaper approach on top the instrument. It was never perfectly flat. I believe so, because this is not the way how it should be done. It should be cut with a knife, and you should put some lipstick on the top, and then you see where it's attaching. It takes some time. Sandpaper, even some makers are doing this. This is something like violating the whole thing. It's no good. Okay, thanks for your review. It costs 900 euros. I don't know what it is. You said put a peg on the scroll. A peg on the scroll. No, not a peg, a clamp. Yi-Hoon Kim, random question, but were cellos that were made in the 18th century, not by famous makers, made smaller? Sometimes. Was the normal size for a cello back then smaller than we consider a full size today? Yes, very likely. All these standard measurements came later on. And nowadays, then they just somehow they decided that 75.5 is the perfect full size length. But actually, Montagnana has a 74.4 and sounds definitely better. And if you have a shorter body on a cello and the neck 28 long and the string length 69 centimeter, you get a very rich, deep instrument. So I think this is definitely something you can consider. Okay. And I didn't say a peg on the scroll, but certainly without pegs it's even worse. And I meant on the scroll itself if you put a clamp. Okay, just to make it a little bit more harder or a little bit more heavy. Okay, so to the weight of the scroll, I even wanted to say if you have pegs in boxwood, generally speaking, I like very much boxwood, but we had just very recently a violin from Min where we had boxwood setup. We listened to the instrument, and then my conclusion was try to put on an ebony setup, and we put the ebony setup on it, and it was definitely sounding better. And this is because in the upper part here, peg box and everything, a little bit more weight. So the fact that the scroll is a little bit more heavy, and we are here talking about tiny minor plus amount of material, makes certainly a difference. Okay, so now we don't want to make everything super heavy, but this is actually what I suggest is a good thing to consider as well. But you certainly don't choose a violin by weight or by looking how it is balanced. But if it is too big or too tiny, the scroll, things like this, is certainly causing something, okay? But when I say this, stay a little bit behind. Now don't judge now all the instruments because of the size of the scroll, okay? I think this is a good advice from my side. So this is this here. There are 33 people, 34 even here now watching this video, which is very nice. So I show you where we are. Here I had this setup here, and I was showing you how you can move the bridge and things like this. This is here the showcase of all the instruments. We made a lot of Scala Perfetta here in the upper part. And then here we have some instruments from Linea Macchi and Ludovico Zanni, Filippo Anselmi, Marco Dotti, Anna Arietti, Mina Mazzolari, and my master violins. Okay. And here we have cellos linea Macchi and scala perfetta, and even a 7/8 scala perfetta here. And over there, there's the violin, which I showed you how to move the bridge. Cool, your Casein wood process, and I know the reason to apply it on outside before varnishing. It is a must process inside the box just to apply some color, or what is the reason for doing so? The reason to apply this protein layer is that the oil varnish otherwise would soak into the wood, and you don't want to have soaked wood which is soaked with the linseed oil varnish. You want the wood, and on top of it you want the varnish. You don't want that the varnish is soaking into the wood and is making everything only heavy. Okay, this is the reason. Now let me see what you have else here. Do you have kids? Yes, of course. I have 2 daughters, and Elena, my wife, has 1 son. They like instrument making. Will you teach them? I teach them. They even started making, but they have also other interests, and I respect the instrument, the desire of all of them. So my kids don't make yet, but who knows? You never know. Okay? But they like the whole thing, the whole subject. They're interested in what I'm doing. Sue Churn Lim, do you prefer using ebony violin tailpiece? Thanks. Yeah, let's say over the years I more and more appreciated the ebony. Even so, for many years I only considered boxwood. Okay, but the ebony actually is not this bad. Yihon Kim, oh wow, you still have the old Italian cello with you. Looks very nice. That cello is not mine. I have to consign it in Austria, and that's why I'm still here. And the Pebble Treasure Easy Ear Piano, thanks for the protein recipe. My violin sounds beautiful now. Very good. So this is actually all this here. And this here is a little bit of wood here in the workshop. Here Marco is carving on his gore booth. Okay, this is how we are working, and I soon have to work on my instruments. I think we were very brave today. I hope you enjoyed this transmission. Here comes the last question. What difference about wood in 3 levels of your instruments? Actually, the difference of the wood isn't that much. It's just that on the scala perfetta, which are these violins here, I don't choose myself the wood, but it is chosen by the ones who make them for me. And over there are also some scala perfetta. You can see because we signed them with SP. Okay, here these ones. You are the best. Thank you very much. You're welcome. I'm not the best. It's just I'm doing just this every day here. These are the next scala perfetta, but we don't touch them. They have over there in the musician room ready. We have varnished them here, and that's fine. And then we have wood, which I take from mainly from the upper in the mountains. This here is like wood from Bachmann, okay, which is here upside close to Bressanone in Italy. And here you can see it with this number. This is wood from Bachmann, which I use for the linea Macchi. And then here, linea Macchi, we have here up there, there's the last one actually. So we have to get banding some more ribs because we finished a few other ones and we need some Stradivarius. We have to do that, and we have too many Guarniers. So these ones, I have the wood, which I choose myself for my wood. And so then we have this kind of wood. And I have lots of wood outside in my where I'm living. Okay. Which makers I admire most beside, well, I admire very much. I admire very much Testore, Montagnana, Ruggeri, and things like this. And then here I have lots of pieces. Guarnieri I like very much, but here's some ribs. Oh damn, I have to work so much. I have even to finish my violin here. Yeah, but that's good. Wood is here all over, right? All over, all over, all over. Like this. Here there is also something interesting, a 3/4 violin, which really, a Scala Perfetta 3/4, which is something new. So we took here this, here you see a 3/4, and this is a full size. So a 3/4 is actually not so much smaller if you look at it, how much smaller it is, huh? But you should listen to it, it really sounds good. This is like this. And here this is a little bit of cello wood. Yeah. Alexander Bozolan, thank you. And this one here is wood which I bought in Germany actually, but the wood is not from Germany. The wood, this one is maple and from Bosnia. Like this. And then here we have the viola, all lined up from Scala Perfetta, Linea Macchi, and Master. And then also on the other side here we have viola. Yeah. So this is here a beautiful mess, thank you. Nice wood, you're welcome, okay. Huh? Would you try me Dreamer's invention to lock a violin into a sound box, making it resonant with Stradivarius sound for 24 hours and compare the difference? And thanks for kind attention. Well, if I have more time and more Stradivarius flying around, I would do that. Okay. Okay, I would say this was a great transmission. I hope you enjoyed it. 37 people are connected here right now. I didn't even think of it, that it is so much fun. You can see me here in the backside in the mirror. I'm waving with my hand. I'm really grateful for all your support. Thanks for watching. If you aren't subscribed, please then just subscribe. Here in New York, Julie Reed gives a yearly violin I 10. Do you think that the modern makers are as good as the old master makers? I think yes. I think so too. Julie Reed, I know her very well. And yeah, I make my own exhibition here, the whole 365 days a year. Okay, say hello to Julie next time you see her. She knows me very well. I know her well as well. All the best. Have fun. Ciao, ciao. Ciao, 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 ciao.